I work nights. Always have. There's something I like about empty roads, neon signs, and the quiet hum of a late shift. But one night last winter changed how I feel about 24-hour gas stations forever. I was driving home after covering a late shift for a coworker. My car was on fumes, so I pulled into a small station just off the highway. It's one of those places that looks frozen in time. Flickering lights, old pumps, dusty glass doors. It was past 2 a.m. The lot was empty except for an old blue sedan parked off to the side. No one was inside it. I didn't think much of it. I went inside to pay the cashier, an older guy with a patchy beard who looked half asleep behind the plexiglass. He barely grunted when I asked for 20 on pump 4. As I turned to leave, I saw him, a man standing near the snacks aisle. Hoodie up, face shadowed. He wasn't browsing. He was just staring at me. I told myself he was just another tired traveler. I went back to my car, started pumping gas, watching my breath fog up in the freezing air. Then I heard the ding of the door. Hoodie guy walked out. He didn't get into the blue sedan. He just stood under the harsh lights, staring at me. I glanced at him, tried to look casual. He didn't flinch, didn't move, just stared. I finished pumping, climbed into my car, and locked the doors. He didn't budge. As I pulled away, I checked my mirrors. He was still standing there, head slightly tilted. I let out a breath, told myself it was nothing. People are weird. It's late. Maybe he's waiting for someone. About 10 minutes down the highway, headlights appeared in my rear view. Same old blue sedan I'd seen at the station. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but every exit I passed, he stayed behind me. Close enough that I could see the reflection of his face in my mirror. Hood still up, eyes locked on me. I took an exit I didn't need. He took it too. I turned left. He turned left. My chest was pounding. I pulled into a brightly lit Walmart parking lot. 24 hours. Lots of cameras. I thought, okay, if he's really following me, he won't park here. I parked near the entrance, killed my lights, and waited. The sedan slowed, then rolled through the lot, headlights sweeping across my windshield. He drove past, didn't stop. I waited a few minutes, heart hammering. No sign of him. Maybe he gave up. I went inside to calm down, maybe grab a drink. The store was nearly empty. I wandered the aisles, trying to shake the tension. Then, at the end of the soda aisle, him. Same hoodie. Same dead stare. He hadn't parked. He'd walked. Followed me inside. I turned and walked straight to the front. Told the overnight manager someone was creeping me out, maybe trying to rob me. They called the police while I waited near the registers. By the time the cops arrived, hoodie guy was gone. They searched the lot. No blue sedan. Nothing. They took my statement and told me to get a dash cam, maybe carry pepper spray. It's been 6 months. I still work nights, but I don't stop at random gas stations anymore. Sometimes when I'm driving those empty roads, I swear I see an old blue sedan in my rear view. No headlights, just a shape drifting behind me until I blink, and it's gone. If you ever see someone watching you at a gas station, don't pretend it's nothing. Some people never really leave. Story 2. I was 19 when it happened. Broke, stupid, and driving home from my girlfriend's place 3 towns over, in the middle of one of the worst snowstorms I'd ever seen. It was past midnight, and my car's gas light had been on for longer than I'd like to admit. Every mile felt like a coin toss. Break down here, or make it a few more miles. When I finally spotted the dim glow of a gas station sign through the swirling snow, it felt like salvation. It was one of those tiny roadside stations that probably hadn't changed since the 70s. Flickering neon, 2 pumps, a sagging roof. But it was open. and that was all that mattered. I pulled in, tires crunching fresh snow. There was an old blue pickup parked near the side of the building, half buried under a drift. No sign of anyone inside it. The whole place looked deserted, except for the single harsh light over Pump 4. I told myself I'd be quick. When I stepped out, the wind nearly ripped the door out of my hand. I jammed my hands in my pockets, collar up, teeth chattering. I grabbed the nozzle and squeezed. Click. Nothing. Click again. Still nothing. I cursed under my breath. The storm was getting worse. Wind howling around the building like something alive. I left the pump dangling and hurried into the tiny station shop. Inside, the warmth hit me like a wall. The place smelled like old coffee and stale cigarettes, rows of dusty snacks, a humming cooler that sounded like it was on its last legs. At the counter sat an old man, plaid flannel shirt, patchy gray beard, eyes drooping under the harsh fluorescent lights. He didn't look up when I walked in, just sat there behind a yellowed plexiglass screen, staring at the counter like he'd been frozen there for decades. I cleared my throat. "Hey, Pump 4's not working. Can you turn it on?" Nothing. He didn't blink, didn't twitch. I stepped closer, boots squeaking on the sticky floor. "Sir, Pump 4?" His eyes finally shifted, unfocused and cloudy. He opened his mouth. That looked like it hurt. He rasped out 2 words. "Pump 3. Then his eyes rolled back down to the counter. A chill slid down my spine that had nothing to do with the storm. I managed a shaky, "Thanks," and backed out the door. I switched to Pump 3. This time, the nozzle clicked, and gas started flowing. I wrapped my arms around myself, watching the snow swirl around the lonely lights. The pickup truck still sat there, windows fogged. No movement. The old man inside. Something about him felt off, like he was waiting for something. Suddenly, the station lights flickered. Once, twice, then steadied. In that stuttering second, I thought I saw something move near the side of the building. A dark shape, hunched low, almost crawling along the wall. I blinked hard. Nothing. Just blowing snow. The pump thudded, snapping me out of it. I shoved the nozzle back, got into my car, and locked the doors. When I glanced up, the shop door was open, swinging slightly in the wind. The old man was gone. Then I saw the pickup truck's headlights flare to life, blasting through the falling snow. It pulled out slow, crunching over the icy lot, rolling right behind me. I could see someone behind the wheel now, but they sat too high. Didn't look like the old man. I slammed my car into drive, fish-tailed onto the road, heart hammering. The truck stayed in my rear view for miles, its lights bobbing in and out of the blizzard. When I finally lost it, I didn't go home. I drove to a diner that stayed open all night, parked under their lights until dawn. A few days later, I tried to find that gas station again. Nothing but an empty lot and the skeleton of an old sign, half buried in snow. Locals told me it had been closed for years, ever since a robbery in the 80s left the owner dead behind the counter. I don't drive that route anymore. When storms roll in, I'd rather run on fumes than ever stop there again. Story 3. A few years ago, my brother and I were driving cross-country to move him out west for college. We'd been on the road for days. Greasy diners, cheap motels, endless stretches of nothing. It felt like an adventure until it didn't. We'd gotten careless. We found ourselves deep in desert backroads at dusk, realizing we hadn't seen a town sign in hours. And our gas gauge was sitting on E. No cell signal, no towns marked on our outdated GPS. Just when my brother started cursing under his breath, we saw it. An old gas station sign flickering behind a line of cacti. The building looked abandoned at first, peeling paint, cracked windows, but a single bulb glowed above one pump. A neon "open" sign buzzed weakly in the dusty window. We pulled in, headlights sweeping across the empty lot. There were no other cars, no houses nearby, just desert and the endless black behind it. Inside, a young man stood behind the counter. Stringy hair, yellowed teeth. The kind of guy who looked like he'd been working there since birth and had nowhere else to go. He stared at us with this wide, too friendly grin that made my skin crawl. We filled up and decided to grab some drinks. While my brother grabbed snacks, I tried to make small talk. "Quiet out here, huh?" The guy didn't answer at first, just kept staring at my brother. Then, slowly, he said, "Not really quiet." "Not always." He slid something across the counter, an old candy bar, but didn't let go of it. "You boys alone?" My brother tensed beside me, "Just passing through." The guy's grin got wider. "Not a good place to stop when it's dark. Bad things come out when the sun's gone." We laughed it off, paid cash, but I couldn't shake the feeling that his eyes were flicking to something behind me, like he was waiting for a signal. As we turned to leave, he slammed his palm on the counter. The sound echoed through the empty store. "You hear that?" We froze. At first, there was only the buzzing of the fridge. Then, faintly, a scraping sound, like metal dragging on concrete. My brother whispered, "What is that?" The cashier didn't blink. He likes to watch. We bolted, out the door, into the car. The air outside felt wrong, thick and still. We jumped in, doors slamming, engine roaring to life. As we sped out of the lot, my brother looked back. "Holy shit." Look, I glanced in the rear view. Standing under the single bulb was a shape, pale, crawling on all fours. Its hair hung in greasy clumps, its back arched at a sick angle, head cocked as if it was sniffing the air. It dragged something behind it, something heavy that scraped along the ground. I floored it, hard in my throat. We didn't say a word until we hit the main highway an hour later, bathed in the safety of passing cars. Sometimes I still dream about that gas station, about that thing under the light, and the way the cashier said, he likes to watch. It makes me wonder if anyone ever makes it out once they see him up close. If you're ever on some empty back road and you see a flickering open sign in the middle of nowhere, just keep driving. Some places aren't worth the gas. If you made it to the end, you're braver than me. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories that'll keep you awake at night. And if you have one of your own, or suggestions for what I should cover next, drop them in the comments or send them my way. You know where to find me.